What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you today. Do me a favor, take a moment, hit that like button, subscribe button, criticism in the comment section, Twitter, shutdown safety is my username. I want to take you back to 2005, the prime of simulation football gaming. You've got Madden and franchise mode bringing the best product they can against 2K and NFL 2K5 bringing the best product they had. And this is when the consumer won. To me, when I go back and look at franchise mode, which is the flagship for Madden 2005, it comes down to immersion. We all remember the Tony Bruno radio show, and it might have been a bit repetitive, but you know, this played in the background while you're doing your draft, all your off-season stuff, and it had interviews with fans, and it gave immersion. Immersion was a big thing with franchise mode back then. Just was this newspaper. I mean, this newspaper helped you stay connected throughout the entire league. I mean, you might not have been controlling the Dolphins, but you knew Ricky Williams was going to the offseason as free agent, and this kind of helped you keep the pulse of the league. The other great thing about this is, you know, you see it was branded USA Today, but you had storylines that played out. I mean, this is a situation where you could actually have this moment. You could be immersed to the point where Charles Woodson is your cornerback, and he's talking about going out into free agency. You could release him right here. You could bench him. You could look to trade him right here, all based on this one article. And that just, to me, always gave that real, true-to-life feel that you were running this team. You had a connection to this team, and it was a lot easier to stay involved apart from just storylines and a Twitter feed that you see now. You had this personal connection through this little PDA that you used to carry around, and here it shows you, you know, something about the practices, and you would refer to this, it was kind of like your central hub. And to me, it always made you feel a little bit more connected. It's a lot more personal. PDA, get it? Personal was a personal thing. Owners aren't getting Twitter feed information. You used to have this practice mode, the mini games. Remember the position battles you could go through and actually use the player or improve a player that was on your team by going through these drills, and had a much more hands-on way to it when you talked about measuring your talent. It was far more personal for you to go out there and use that halfback that you had as a backup, or use that halfback that you just drafted, and see how they were going to fare on a field with limited resistance. This is a linebacker and a safety in cones on the field. It was a lot more in-depth than just sitting there and looking at your depth chart and saying, okay, who's better overall? Or who has the higher speed rating? Or which player do I want to start? Or who am I going to feed the ball a lot to in preseason? These mini games were a big part of what franchise was and really helped grow your players. The other thing was the game planning. I mean, Madden today, the game planning seems very dull and repetitive. Seems like a chore, to be quite honest with you. But back then, you know, you basically got shown your next opponent. It went over some key players here, Rich Gannon, Tony Parrish, Andre Carter, gave you some advice. Watch for the safety to drop deep. Get the ball out quick because Andre Carter. Went over their injuries, went over their key players, where they were in rankings. You really felt like even at a glance, you knew what to expect. Obviously, another big part of this was going to be the coaching staffs. I mean, it kept track of everything. We're taking a look at Ray here. You can see his progression as a coordinator. He was a Jet. He was a Raider. He's never really had a lot of success. Did you want to bring him onto your team? And then obviously what everyone loved the most was this game kind of had an economy to it. You could go in here, aside from relocations, but you could set concession prices. You could set ticket prices. And you see the little fan support bar. You had fan expectations in the game, and if you went over their expectations, these products just weren't going to sell, whether it was a jersey or whether it was a soda or a beer. And this economy actually helped you create positive things for your team to generate more revenue. So if you were making money, you had assets, you could go in and theoretically upgrade your stadium. So here it shows you, you know, you're going to do a different sideline deck. You're going to expand your seating. And this really gave another level to the game, because if your team wasn't doing well, you weren't winning games, you weren't generating revenue, you didn't need a bigger capacity, all of this was for naught. But if you were, you could really work to create a better stadium that was shown in the game. When you went into the game and played, this was your stadium. And you could end seasons based on simply not being prepared enough and spending too much money. You could bankrupt a team practically. And all these things are gone. And when you think about why they're gone, I think we go back to one of the first things I mentioned in this video: competition. EA had to make franchise mode the best it was in 2005 because 2K5 was right there. And then without 2K5, I'm not saying the gameplay hasn't improved. I'm not saying the game hasn't gotten better. But all this stuff is non-existent in what was, again, truly the flagship mode that sold this game. It's been stripped down, it's been bare-boned, it's been broken. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all these little things that I just told you worked 100% and were fantastic and never broken and never had their own problems. They certainly did. But you know what? They were there. And we enjoyed them and we used them. And like I said, I bet some of you never even had an opportunity to use them, see them, or play them because maybe you haven't been playing Madden for 12 years, 13 years like some of us had. Love to know your thoughts on this. Love to know what you missed, what you appreciate, what you want back in Madden. To me, if you're another developer, whether you're Cal Anderson, whether you're Axis Games, whether you're Canuck Play and you're watching this, go back and look at some of the Madden 2005 franchise implementations. Get those in a game. That's what we want to see. That's what a lot of us wanted, and that's what a lot of us miss. Appreciate you checking this video out. You guys know, back in the week with more commentary.